Hey everyone, welcome back to Citywide Blackout, your home for music, movies, and more. I'm your host, Max Bowen. Well, this is a very special episode for me. Now, I've been a fan of the Boston-based band, the Grownup Noise, for a long time. So when I heard that they had a new album out called Lonely Days, I reached out to Paul Hansen, told him, you're back on the show. We talk all about the new album, the new sounds, and the different directions that they went into this time, while still keeping the core sound that they've been known for over the years. And joining me now, well, folks, it has been a while since this guy has been on the show. Something like 6 years, I think. I am joined by Paul Hansen of the band The Grownup Noise. Anyone following the show will know I'm a huge fan of them, going back many years. It's cool having you back, Paul. Welcome to the show, sir.
Max, thank you so much. Thanks for having me, man. It's nice to be, number one, it's nice to be alive. And it's nice. I'm serious. It's serious. And it is. Right? I'm just breaking it down. I'm happy to be alive, and I'm happy to be here with you talking about music.
Absolutely. It's nice to have something else to focus on, basically.
Yes.
It's been a while, and certainly a lot has changed with the band. One of the biggest ones I've noticed is your lineup, because I can remember a time when you were like a 6-piece band, 7-piece. You were like a squad, basically. And now it is down to 2.
It's down to 2. And for a while there, it was just 1. And then it blinked back up to 2. I still have no problem and hope that it keeps, expanding and contracting. I was really lucky when the band did shrink and a lot of people left. They were like, man, Paul, keep the name, since I was the only writer, they're like, keep the name, do whatever you want with it. That felt great, just because, not that it's an amazing name or it's perfect in any way, but it was just nice not to start over. You know what I mean? So I could kind of keep writing under that name. And then when Max, the drummer, joined and I started working on songs with him for this new record, it was just like, yes, there was some blood back into it. Even though there's not many people in the shop, it just felt really good. And Adam, actually, bass player Adam, co-founder Adam, played bass on a couple of songs too. So that was great. So he's around. I'm always trying to rope him in.
But yeah. Get him back involved. That's cool.
Yeah, pretty much.
What happened that things have changed so much? Was it just a case of life happening and people having to go their separate ways?
I think so. I feel like we pushed it really hard with the tours for 2 or 3 years in a row, and then there was a lot of life. I don't want to blame the kids, but I'll blame kids. No, but I can't even. It's I feel like I could hide behind the kid thing, but that's so not to blame. Anyway, and I'm just thinking of our drummer. Her artist visa was up, so she had to leave. That sucked really bad because she was amazing. And then Todd, the piano player, he just needed a change of scenery, so he's all the way out on the West Coast. Adam and I both had kids, so everyone had life things, and also, but unfortunately, I do have to admit, we hit kind of a peak and just couldn't get to the next whatever. We couldn't get to the next level, and so I think that combined with the life stuff made it really hard to just put in, so much time and effort. As far as keeping the whole team going, full time. That was tough. Mm-hmm. That was tough. I wouldn't trade it though, but because I miss those touring days.
I can remember first seeing you guys at TT the Bear's place. I believe that
wow.
Seriously, TT the Bear's, rest in peace. We missed that place. I think something like 10 years ago, probably, when I first saw you play, and I was just like, holy crap! I was just blown away, and that just kind of began this multi-year just fandom of the band. And
thanks, Max.
How did you and Max meet up?
So actually, Max and I were both accompanists at Berklee College of Music. Cool. So it's kind of I graduated a long time ago, but I would do this gig where they would hire, they essentially would hire a professional rhythm section, and we would play for the students and kind of teach them how to work with a professional rhythm section that has a breadth of knowledge, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I met him there. We did that gig together for years, and then it was just hey, do you want to jam sometime? And then it just clicked. So as much as I talk trash about Berklee, I've met some amazing, some lifelong music connections there, including Max. So, it's all good.
For a little while, you were a solo act. It was just you. What was that like?
That was weird. That was sad. I remember just listening. I remember just kind of listening to music because it kind of all staggered down to me. And it's, especially when Adam really needed a break. And I feel like Adam deserved a break more than anybody, just because how much work he was putting in on the business end as well as, being a musician in the band. That was just a lot. But yeah, it was really strange. It was so strange, though, that I think it propelled this new album, because I put down the guitar and I started writing on piano, because everything felt so different and so weird. I'm like, well, I can't just operate as though things are normal. So I started, writing on piano and just trying to look at everything differently, trying to look at my writing different, trying to challenge myself, because the roof was off. There was no, there was no, and also just playing the guitar, it's almost like brought back memories. I literally had to do something brand new just to move on.
And that's how it is with bands. I think kind of like the longer a band is around for, the more changes it's going to undergo.
Yeah.
I do like that you're able to keep the name, too, because definitely the Grownup Noise is super well-known in the Boston area. Everyone knows that name. So it's definitely good that you're able to kind of maintain that presence and not have to come up with a brand new name, because names are hard.
Dude, names are hard, and also, and then even if you have, it's guaranteed. I noticed this, too, because sometimes I've thought, like, oh, would it be cool to change your name and try something else? And you just look up an idea, and it's literally 3 other bands, and then also these other things. When you look up the internet, 50 other things come up anyway. So at least, even if for better or worse, I know it's not maybe some people don't love the name, but I know some people do, some people don't, but at least when you type it in, that's what comes up as the band, exactly. Right? Which is hard, which is going to be a tough I'm not going to trade that easy away. Yeah.
No, definitely not. Yeah. Definitely not. So let's talk about the new album out, Lonely Days. Folks, folks check it out on your various music streaming platforms. You can get physical copy, Spotify, what have you, but definitely check it out, because this definitely, I think, keeps the core sound of the Grownup Noise, but I feel like you're going some different directions.
Yeah, that was definitely the plan. Like starting on piano, and then when I started playing with Max, then I started messing around with this. Actually, I have it right next to me here. This analog synth. So I was like, okay, well, what would these piano songs sound like through synth? And then I wanted to have it be, split, half piano, half synth. And then it kind of kept just kind of creeping more and more over to the synth. And I was loving how it sounded so different, and it didn't sound like a typical Grownup Noise record. And I didn't like being safe with my guitar. So yeah, so it just kind of that was like thrilling. I was like I was having an affair or something. I was like, you know what I mean? Like I was having a musical affair, and it was sloppy, but it was hot. Like so.
As most affairs are wont to be.
Right.
Your guitar's like in the corner saying, "Paul, don't you love me anymore? What happened?"
Yeah, and I'm like, I can't even look at my guitar because of the things I've done. Like I can't.
You're just like ashamed of yourself. Meanwhile, the synth's like, "Come on, Paul, let's make some more music."
Yes.
You know you like the sounds I make.
Right. It is nice that you can have a fair, like you don't have to dick over people. You can be good to the people and relationships in your life, but you can have affairs in other ways. It's cool. It's really nice.
Music drama. Music affairs, always good stuff. You were doing a lot more on piano than guitar. Was that a new thing for you, or had you done that in the past with previous incarnations? I
have actually. That's a good question. There was definitely a piano-driven song on This Time with Feeling, the second album. That, but that just, and then maybe one on The Problem with Living in the Moment. So I have dabbled, but I never like totally let go and committed to the piano. So yeah, so I have been kind of messing around with the piano here and there, but not like this.
Did you have to learn some new things to do this?
No, you know what? And actually, I love that you can, if you've been writing and playing long enough, it was nice to know, you can literally just start on a shape, and then just repeat that shape a million times. And if you get something out of it, then you kind of follow that thread and then build around it. And you have to stay within your limitations. So sometimes I would come across something and be like, oh, that would be nice if I could if I could do that, but I can't. But there's something powerful about limiting yourself that I noticed. It's like you don't have to have crazy technique to write a great song in any fashion. And I love that about songwriting so much. So I didn't mind really not having the technical facility, because I would just play it over and over and over. I mean, I couldn't. It's funny. Some people are like, oh, now that you're playing piano, will you come, sit in on these sessions or play on my record? And I'm like, don't misunderstand me. I can't really play. I could like practice for 6 months and then maybe do it. But like the songs I've been working on, I've been just repeating them over and over. So no, I never got a handle of piano. I don't think. I can play it, I can fake it. I can sing a song and play it, but it's not, it's definitely not home base.
So the Paul Hansen dueling pianos battle will have to wait.
Yes. Nobody wants to hear that. Yeah. I don't think.
What would you say Max brought to the table that was new for the Grownup Noise?
In like a primal sense, he brought youth. He's like, like it was just awesome because he's just, he's kind of starting out and like such a great drummer, such a powerful drummer, kind of coming from like a jazz and a funk tradition, but he plays every style, of course. Yeah, he just kind of injected a new sound, and he just kind of, he listens to some other stuff than I do, and so yeah, he just brought a different perspective, and then also just wanting to really get into. I love that he was into this too, like writing parts. And so, because we had jammed in various rhythm sections for years, where everyone just kind of comes in and like, plays whatever cool thing comes immediately to them. But we knew for this album, we wanted to like craft a part. We didn't want to just like lean on our instrument skills or for him to lean on his drum skills. He wanted to come up with a good part, and so did I. So it was awesome that he brought this willing to like, you compose, if you want to, you can get really nerdy and compose drum parts. And we did, like all those. We wanted it to. We didn't want it to just sound like a session drummer coming in. We wanted it to sound like a band, and we wanted to work it through.
One thing that I really liked is that your core sound has kind of been consistent, even with all like the changes. What made the Grownup Noise consistent like throughout the years, which I really loved about that.
Man, well, thank you, and I feel like that's like the best compliment I've got is that it still sounds like this record sounds like a Grownup Noise record. Like I was worried that some older fans, not old in age, just some fans that have known us for a while, like you, and some other people, like, are they going to be like, what the hell is this like synth stuff? But everybody still thought it sounded very much like a Grownup Noise record, and that was exciting because now I want to like now I can step out of my bounds, but it's still going to sound like me enough. That was definitely really great to hear.
One line that I thought just really stuck to me was, I believe, from the song Lonely Days. It goes, "Lonely days give us back the strength to walk right out that front door." But yeah, damn, dude, that's both sad but also very true. And you mentioned that you were going through a lot of like lonely times too, and this really like fueled kind of like the writing. Yep,
yeah, absolutely. Kind of living alone, like. Just not having anything to bounce off of anyone. Like I was always used to like, I could at least bounce stuff off Adam all the time or everyone else in the band. Just when you're playing a lot of shows, you're hanging out at shows, you know people on the scene. But then I was very disconnected from that for several years. And it was just weird. And then it felt weird to even go back and see a show. I just felt awkward. Like that's the like leaving the front door and like, hey, you can go to a show and, not that people are going to even know who you are, or if they do, or they're not going to care, but it just felt awkward going to shows alone, and which I didn't even go to many shows. So, yeah, it was a super, super lonely time, and I tried to not hide from the sadness of it, and I tried to put that into the music and just feel all those things that it was. And, yeah, there's a lot of times that I wanted to go out and be social, and I just didn't. for like 2 years. Like, wow. Yeah. I mean, some close friends I saw, but not on the music scene, like not being part of the music community, which you should always, I know it's hard in Boston these days, like we were talking about, but you still got to stay part of your various communities. And one of them was the music community. And I just couldn't, I don't know if I was embarrassed or depressed or I couldn't do it. I kind of had to cocoon style.
I think part of that is because so much has changed. I know for me, I used to go to shows all the time when I lived in a city, and I would know like half the people there because there would be either friends of mine or people in bands or folks I knew from the radio stations. And now, of course, they're all gone for like the most part. So if I were to go to a show, I would be a stranger there, and that's a weird feeling to go from, hey, I know like 40 people here to, hey, I know no one here. Where did everyone go? Right.
I mean, I think part of that is whatever age attrition too. Like we're getting older, but man, I felt that feeling, and it felt very strange when I did go to shows. But at least even as difficult as things are now, it is awesome. It was nice to occasionally go to a show with a lot of younger people and just be like, yes, like I don't have to know, like, you know, and just to see 10 new bands, you're like, who are these bands? Like, I kind of like that when if I see in the name of any band that I don't know, I'm like, yes, you know, that's like getting some buzz, or like, who are they? And like that's actually that's very exciting to see, and just be reminded that we are not kind of all things past, and it's cool that there's turnover and there's young faces. And so, yeah, I feel like that's a bit of a double-edged sword, but I feel you on the sadness of being, you know what I mean? Like not being called in to not being picked to play on the team.
But you do make a good point though. So the scene changes, obviously. The familiar faces are largely gone. Even the venues are starting to go. But we are seeing that the scene still exists. You know, whether it's like old friends from like 10 years ago, or like I said, bands you have no idea who they are. It's still active and still there.
Yes, and that is exciting. And that's I kind of want to find. It's hard. I mean, I know you can find them if you stay on top of press and listen to your show and all these shows. You can stay on top of that and find stuff as well. But yeah, seeing the new names is exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What are some of the new names that you've had the chance to see that you're kind of excited about?
I'm trying to think of somebody that I saw before. There was this woman, Brennan Weedle. She was playing in the city for just a few years. She actually also went to Berkeley as well, but she's really young, fresh face, amazing voice, amazing songwriting. Like I'm kind of like obsessed with her songs. I think she's awesome. But of course, I think we're gonna lose her. I mean, I think we've already lost her. She's moving away.
Damn it! Again.
But, yeah. But she was playing in some cool bands here, and she was great. And it's like I'm gonna, you know, hopefully stay in touch just because I love her. I love her approach. She's awesome.
I also want to ask about music videos, because I saw the music video for Lonely Days, and this is an animated one. That thing was awesome. I was hooked, man. I mean the story told. Max. The story is just a robot living a very lonely life. That kind of, I think, sums it up. And the emotion conveyed in the different scenes was wonderful stuff. How did all that come together?
Man, thank you so much, Max. Because when I first showed that to a couple of people, when we finished it, I'll explain. Some people, you know, thought it was just kind of strange or didn't get the emotion, and I thought it was very emotional. So I like that you picked up on that, because some people have kind of felt that from it, and then some people have been just kind of like, oh, that's interesting, but didn't necessarily have an emotional response to it. But anyway, so I found Brad Patullo is the one who did the animation, and then we wrote the story together. Like I kind of had like a starting point idea, and then kind of we went back and forth, because I had the idea of, you know, being a bit stuck inside, but also that his friend, the robot, that like, when you're alone, there's still some things to be gained. You can still dig into the depths and mine yourself for good things, or you get, you know, obsessed with some art form or some book. So there's some things that you can do when you're alone that you can't do in social settings. So there is some positives, as sad as it is. So that kind of manifested in his friend, which was kind of difficult, the little robot friend. But I wanted there to be a reason that he was staying in the place, you know, and that also maybe in my mind he was kind of taking his friend with him when he left. So even when you do move on, you don't just get rid of all those times. You take them with you, and there's going to be some good things you can take with you. And that's what it means to me. But anyway, it was amazing to write to finish that story with Brad, and then just to see his animation, and that was exciting. I'm glad you're feeling it.
Oh, definitely, dude. I got to the end. I'm like, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry too much. I'm going to cry a bunch here. Oh, God. Because you know, we've definitely all been there. We've all had to say goodbye to friends. Just because it ends doesn't mean it wasn't worth it. You take the good times, Absolutely. You carry them with you, and that's what you treasure.
Yes. You can't just throw that stuff out. Like, you have to, it goes with you.
Of course, the past, 5 months have been difficult ones for all of us, but especially for the music scenes. That's all kind of come to a halt. I'm curious what you have been up to during this time.
I mean, mostly it's kind of strange. So I've been teaching a lot of private lessons. That's kind of what I was doing before. So I teach private lessons in person. So now I'm doing it like this. So I've been teaching, but musically, I haven't really been writing much because it's been hard to get inspired to find the time. But I, released this record, and I have I had that main video, and then I have a bunch of other videos. So I've kind of just been like slowly releasing various videos, and then just trying to focus, stay positive musically with the record, and the response isn't lost on me because I've been getting text messages and emails all the time about how much people love the record. So I'm trying to feed into that and like release another video, do another push, and people have been ordering CDs. So I've been trying to like let the release of this album kind of carry me through this part. Another thing I'm excited about is I started, our songs are done, but I'm writing an album with Susan Cattaneo, and we have 10 songs. And so we got a big session done before COVID hit. And then so we're going to kind of go in separately and start trying to finish it. But so that's exciting too.
That is so exciting because I love Susan's music. When you said that name,
awesome!
When you said that name, I thought, oh my shit, this is going to be good. This is
great!
Really
man!
Good. So very much looking forward to that. Do you have any kind of release date in mind, or is it still being worked on?
We're still. I mean, it's still in the studio. We're still we're still getting. We're still finishing. I mean, the songs are all done. There's guitars and vocals down on most, but we're doing harmony parts, and then we're going to add some other instruments. But I mean, we don't want it to linger forever because we want it to stay a bit simple. And the songs, we're really happy with the songs. So we're definitely gonna move on this. But man, I'm psyched that you're psyched about that because we are too. It's gonna be good. It's a good blend of us too because I haven't collaborated a whole lot. I did when I was younger for years, but then once I got in Grownup Noise mode, I was just kind of got into hermit writing mode. And she's such a collaborator. She writes with this person, she writes with that person. So she was good at kind of pulling me out of my shell and making it a collaborative effort and said, Paul, you can't just run to a cave, get back here, it's good.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important too, especially now for artists. I don't want to put pressure on them, but I think it's important for them, if they're working on something, keep working on it, keep releasing it, keep putting out your music videos, your singles, because we all want to consume this. We have the time, Lord knows, but we need, I think, the positivity of art. Whether it's a new book or a comic or a music video or an album, let's keep it coming, guys, because we all want to have it and we need that distraction.
Yeah, man, that's good to hear because I was worried when I released this kind of, just in the middle of a lot of intense things going on. I didn't know if I wanted to release it, but then some really close people to me said what you're saying. They said people still need it. They still want it. You know what I mean? So it was good to just kind of push through, even though I know a lot of people put off their releases. I just kind of did it, in the belly of the beast. So that, and I'm glad I did because you're right. People need it. People need that side. People need art to do with it what they will always.
And they need to get the hell off of Facebook. Stop having their long political debates. It doesn't accomplish anything.
Right. I know, especially on Facebook too. Like at least do that stuff face to face or on the phone. But Facebook is it can be really weird.
Yeah, when I see a post with like 100 comments, I'm like, yep, we're gonna scroll past that one. We are not. I'm gonna scroll to. Oh, hey, my friend posted a picture of their dog. That was much better. Did this have any kind of impacts on you? Did you have like shows planned that had to get scrapped?
No. We were definitely Max and I were planning on putting together, a big release show or, whatever, medium big release show, that now that's on hold. I don't know when that's going to happen, but that will be fun to do someday, someday. And at least, maybe the one good thing musically is that some people will know some of the songs because they've been listening to it. So, because in the past, sometimes we'd release an album and it's like, boom, here's new music. And people are like, oh, cool, but they don't know it. So hopefully, at least the people that will come to the show might know some of the songs by the time we finally get to actually do a proper show.
Now, you mentioned other music videos. Will you be doing more animated ones, or will they be more like live action?
Yeah, live action and just kind of other footage that I've taken. Because I had a big spurt of I don't know if you did this too, like at the beginning of COVID, like everyone was trying something out. So I was trying my best to do Premiere Pro. So I started kind of feeding in and doing some like lyric videos with like some other footage that I've taken. So it was kind of fun to get to know Premiere Pro a little bit. Did you have that too? Did you have that kind of like initial burst of like, I'm going to take on something new?
Oh, yeah. I took classes in, social media marketing, copywriting,
Oh, nice.
Small business marketing and public relations, because
Oh, wow.
I've learned the hard way what happens when you put all your eggs in one basket. So I decided, okay, let's learn some like new skills and, just grow from it. And so I've got all these certifications I've kind of gotten from this. So it's like, hey, cool.
Dude, that's amazing, man. So you did smart things.
Yeah.
Smart. Yeah. I was just like happy to do anything like artistic and creative, half productive, but you did like, really definable smart things, man. That's awesome.
Aside from that, I would say I did more like live interviews through like Instagram Live. I've been wanting to do this for a while because I'd taken some classes last year, and then I just didn't have the time for it because I was working so much. And now I was like, okay, I have the time. Let's do this thing that's been on my to-do list for months. And
that's great. And have you been able to? I kind of had my burst of productivity, and then it's kind of fading. Like, have you been able to Have you been able to kind of stay inspired and keep doing? And keep working on that stuff?
A little bit. Things have begun to go back to normal little by little. My time is a little more taken up with work. I work for a weekly paper here in North Attleboro.
That's awesome. Wait, so do you have to go as a journalist there, do you have to go on site a lot? Like a lot of places? Or are you able to kind of do research from home? Or how is that? Do you have to go out?
Even when things were really crazy, I was still going out and covering. So the paper I write for covers the news in North Attleboro. I'm not going to Boston or New York City or anything like that. So I was going on site fairly frequently. And initially I was like, oh, geez, I don't know if I want to do this. But the more you do something, the more you get used to it. So now it's fairly second nature. But initially it was like, I have to go out and go some places with people?
Right.
Maybe. Yeah, and
that's cool though, man. That's great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So are you doing arts writing for the paper too?
When I can, we don't have a ton of like artists in the town, but when I get the opportunity, yes, I'll write about someone's like new book or the new album or things like that.
Oh, that's cool. Are there some venues out there?
Not a
Not so
lot. I'm fairly close to Providence, of course, so there are tons of venues there.
Nice.
And weirdly enough, I think they've actually started doing live shows again.
Oh, wow, in Providence. Wow.
Like actually inside shows too.
Distance, like inside but distanced, or just, or?
Yeah, like a much less capacity, obviously, more kind of rules in place, what you can and can't do. So it's not the same experience, but Rhode Island has actually dealt with this fairly well in terms of keeping the numbers down. So they're allowing this to kind of resume, so fingers crossed, What is your plan for down the road? As things begin to reopen and life returns to some level of normal, what's the Grownup Noise's goals?
Back to the lonely days, like the self-doubt of like, should you spend that much time, writing and pursuing your songs that kind of ebb and flow in terms of popularity. After this album, I am going to keep writing forever. Like I think I kind of knew that always, but it was nice to get this response. So basically, I'm going to keep moving. Challenge myself on the next record. I want to have a release show for this album. I want to make that album with Susan awesome, and then I want to keep making records forever. Like if anything, if it was a weird turning point, it's that I have to keep on going for myself. I used to know this stuff better, but like Buddha faces all these demons when he's like sitting there alone and he's like basically hallucinating. So I think I faced a fair amount of my personal demons. And so now I'm just going to get up and keep going.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like you hit like a major like crisis point kind of thing where like if you weren't going to shows for a couple of years, you're kind of like in like the hermit mode. How do you think you've kind of grown from this though? Challenging myself with the piano was, and then writing start to finish songs on there, that many songs was nice. You get a little bit of confidence from that. When you push yourself out like you're doing too, like when you push yourself out and challenge yourself, you get a little bit of a strut from that. So I'm kind of excited to like challenge myself again, especially if I can keep the voice of the Grownup Noise of the songwriting, but in put it in even a different context each time. Like I'm kind of excited, to dig even deeper. Do you have a favorite song on this album?
I feel pretty close to the song "Leaving Somerville" just because it's a pretty personal song. Like I don't write a lot of. Some people notice that right away too. They're like, "Wow, this is a personal album. There's a lot of stuff." I don't want to. I don't feel comfortable writing overly personal stuff. But I guess there is a lot on that one. So it's nice to like kind of live through that song lyrically. I mean, musically, I like tracing back because it was just kind of fun to just approach something totally differently. So I think maybe musically tracing back, but maybe lyrically, I liked Leaving Somerville.
When it comes to writing like personal things, what made you want to, go and do that?
I think maybe just part of the solitude thing, and part of and I mean, also it sounds kind of cliche and lame, but I'm 45. I guess it's a middle-aged thing too. And I got little kids, and you start to you can see death up there, or you can see, I don't know. Some people want a car. I wanted to make an album. I don't know. So I guess that was part of it too. Is the midlife aspect.
It also sounds a little bit like this was just you like disgorging everything that had been kind of pent up, everything that had been kind of like building inside you. Yeah,
absolutely. That's what it was. And it was nice to, like we were talking about earlier, when you spend a lot of time alone, you can kind of harness that stuff, in positive ways too. You can sublimate it towards art, which is, the best thing about art,
Mm-hmm. Well, Paul, I have loved talking to you about this. I am very excited.
Me too, Max.
Very excited about the album, folks. If you want to get your copy, you go to thegrownupnoise.com. You'll find all the information there. Again, you can get a physical copy. You can stream it. However you do it. Support the band. They're awesome, and they're still here.
And now we're never going away.
Exactly. So get used to it, because they're not going away ever.
No, I don't think so.
Paul, thank you once again.
Thank you, Max. That was really fun, man. Great to see you.
Hi, this is singer Kate Eppers, and you're listening to Citywide Blackout.
All right, folks, that brings the episode to a close. Big thanks to Paul Hansen for joining me. You can follow the show on Facebook under Citywide Blackout, Twitter and Instagram under Citywide Max, and check out citywide.blogspot.com. Listen to the show on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, and every Saturday at 10 p.m. on Boston Free Radio. To close this out, I've got 3 songs from the new album: I Get It Now, followed by Lonely Days and Tracing Back. As always, keep those ears open.
Sad songs in the nude, and every drop of this pouring rain carries the news. I think I get it now. Get it now. I think I get it now. I think I get it now. I've wasted all my precious time searching for the perfect little rhyme. But I think I get it now. find, surfing all those waves in your mind. Lonely days give us back the strength to walk right out that front door. If you stay, you might never know what happens to your life. You don't believe anyone. The moon sings and you turn to the sun. We're just made up words in your song. We've seen you getting strong. Lonely days give us back the strength to walk right out that front door. If you stay, you might never know what happens to your life. And you'll look back one day with a tear and say that you would never trade. You wouldn't trade. Lonely days give us back the strength to walk right out that front door. If you stay, you might never know what happens to your life. And lonely days give us back the strength to walk right out that front door. If you stay, you might never know what happens to your life. Lonely days. Lonely days. Tracing back on the time, honored practice of love, fading captains and saccharine snap, judgments of a beating heart. And if it's art, back in school we were fools, twisting words and beating drums, acting out every part, till the sun reminded us, better get to class, better bust your ass. Playing pool, we were fools, lost our cool, just for fun, chasing us. They could tell we were out of shape and drunk. A red state gent with his hippie friend. Remember the time we broke down in that tiny bumfuck town, terrified. We thought we would be eaten alive, and what we saw disproves Murphy's Law. Judging you was like wine, I could tell when you lied, and you couldn't walk into my heart, light a match and burn it down. But I was there when she left, and you were there for my shit it to tracing back to the start of our ill-fated hearts. But these memories, they don't ask please.